This has got to be one of my best reading months in a long time. This video is going to be my August reading wrap up. If you're new here, my name's Jess and I read and review thriller books so you can get the ones that are actually worth your time and your money. I think we've got about 10-11 books here. One at the bottom I've not read yet, but I'm actually filming this a bit before the end of August because I'm going to Edinburgh at the end of the month. So I had 3 Kindle books, 2 hardbacks and 7 paperbacks, but one was a library book I had to give back. Go through these in the order that I read them. Let's go! So I actually started the month reading an advanced reader copy of 59 Minutes by Seddon, which I read on the Kindle. And this one is basically about a severe nuclear threat that's going to hit London in 59 minutes. Follows 3 main characters' point of views and kind of what they do in that event to try and either get back to friends, family or not. I literally devoured this book in one sitting, like I could not stop reading it. Obviously because it's a time pressured book, you're counting down till the final minutes, it's like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? It kind of had some interesting twists in it as well, which I kind of wasn't expecting. So the main characters, you've got Carrie, who's trying to get home to her partner and her daughter. You've got Frankie and her boyfriend Otis, who went for a nice little cosy weekend break down in Devon and they're stuck there. You've got Mrs. Dab, who is waiting for her teenage daughter to get home from school. You've got 3 very different perspectives, but they all have really good storylines. I think this book was such an interesting concept, kind of exploring what people would actually do in this situation. Even though it's fictional, I think it is a really good concept. And I rated this book 4 star. This one is out in September and it's definitely one to add to your TBR. Next book I read was another arc I read on my Kindle. This one was a romance book called You Rock My World by Camilla Isley. I absolutely love books by her. If she writes it, I'm going to read it. It's more of a rom-com book, which is brilliant. And if you've ever dreamt of having a rock star boyfriend, this is a book that you really need to read. It is just living out all your wildest fantasies in a book if you want a rock star boyfriend. But it also touched on kind of the realities of if you were a rock star and you had kind of a more corporate girlfriend, kind of the realities of having to balance that and travelling here and there and balancing the relationship. I think it was quite interesting in that aspect. There wasn't really any spice to it, but the plot was so good, you didn't actually need it, and I absolutely love a Camilla Isley book. And I rated this one 4 star. Next book I read was The Couplet No. 9 by Clare Douglas. This was a library book, so I don't have the physical copy on me anymore. This one is basically our main character Safi. She's moved into a new house and they start kind of renovating the garden, digging up all the grass to build something or other, I can't remember what. And the builders basically find 2 unalive bodies buried in the garden. So the house that Safi moved into, it was actually her grandma's old house, but her grandma is now in a home with dementia, and it kind of, one of the storylines kind of followed her perspective and kind of flipping back in time to what happened when she used to live there. And it was really interesting, kind of the idea of can you actually trust what the grandma is saying, or is the stuff she's saying not true? Quite an interesting take on that. This one was a really good domestic thriller and I really like the dual timeline aspect, kind of flipping back 40 years and then back to present day. And I didn't expect half the twists that were in this one either. I love a book that has surprise twists that you're not expected. I think they're the best. And I gave this one, again, 4 star. Next book I read was Next of Kin by Abdullah. This one, I will be recommending this to absolutely everyone. Basically a high profile legal trial. It's about a lady who leaves her sister's child in the car. It's a really hot day and he passes away from the heat, and it's basically the legal trial into whether what she did was accidental or intentional. And it was a really good storyline. It kept me guessing like until the last page on who was the good guy, who was the bad guy kind of thing. The last 2 chapters were really twisty and intense as well, and I did not expect the final twist in this one. I was like, no, we need to keep this book going because I need to know what happens with this twist. I think that's why I didn't give this one quite a 5 star. Yeah, this one had a lot of kind of family tension as well. Obviously, you've got main character and then it's her sister's child that has passed away. There's a lot of family tension there as well, and I absolutely love this book. I gave it 4.5 star. It didn't quite hit the 5 star just because of how the ending wrapped up too quickly for me, but this one was so good. The next book I read was I Let You Go by Clare Mackintosh. I actually read this one in January 2024. So this one was a reread. It was kind of staring at me from my bookshelf and I was like, yeah, I want to reread this. And I gave it the same rating this time as I did last time. I gave this 4 star. So this one is about main character Jenna and her child who passes away in a car crash. And she basically runs away to this little remote cabin in Wales, trying to kind of process the whole situation. And then there is a big twist halfway through. I think this is the bit from the book everyone is like, what the? And then, yeah, I can't really say much more than that, but the whole book changes from that point on, and it is such a good read. Everyone rates this one really highly, and if you read it, you will see why. This is such a loved book. Kind of got the police investigation vibes with it as well, which I really, really like police investigation books. Yeah, definitely recommend this one if you've not read it already. This one was a straight up 5-star. I absolutely loved this book. I devoured it in under a day. It was incredible. I can't say too much about the plot without giving away any spoilers. It's basically told in kind of 3 main perspectives. So you've got the main character, Marissa, you've got another perspective and another one, which I can't tell you, or I might ruin the book for you. But the story is basically about the mum, Marissa, who goes to pick up her child Milo from a play date with another nursery child's house. And she goes to the house at the address she's been given, knocks on the door, says she's here to collect her son, and the woman's like, your son's not here, I don't know who he is. And Marissa's just like, what do you mean, where's my son? And it just unravels in the most crazy way. There's some proper unreliable narrator vibes in this one as well. You've got some twisty characters, you've got betrayal, you've got secrets, you've got twists as well. I was going to give this one a 4-star originally because of one of the twists, just because of the fact I expected it, but then I upped it to a 5-star because the last 30 pages just blew me away. If you've not read this one, you need to. And I need to find a physical copy of this because this is a library book and I need it as a trophy for my shelf. Next book is One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. I gave this one 4.5 stars. This was such a good book. It's a kind of destination thriller / survival vibes. If you want a book which is basically about survival on a remote island, then this is the one for you. Basically, you've got 10 people, 5 couples, who join a reality TV show which is being filmed on a remote island in Indonesia. And they all fly over, they get this boat over to this remote island. They do one of the first tasks, and one of them is like eliminated on the first night. And then they go to bed, and then this storm kind of rolls in. And it is really bad, so they're left with no power, no food, besides a few croissants, and it basically turns into a survival book. So if you've read the blurb of this and saw reality TV show, it's only really the reality TV aspect for the first 100 pages, and then it turns into more kind of survival thriller style. You do kind of have like the characters you'd get from a reality TV show, so you have kind of like the drama queen, you have the ringleader, you kind of have them sort of aspects, but the actual reality TV show filming bit is just the first 100 pages. I was so gripped on this. There was like so much action. It had unaliving as well. Obviously it's a survival. I'm not going to tell you how many people survive because that's going to ruin the book. I wouldn't say it kind of had like your typical plot twists as such. It was more like following the story from one character's perspective, and it was more kind of suspense in it than twists, I'd guess. The best way I could describe it, but it was such a good read, and again, everyone needs to add this to their TBR. Because I've had such a good reading month, everything I'm like, you need to read this, so sorry if I grow your TBRs by like 10 books by the end of this. The next book I read was Kill for Me, Kill for You by Cavanagh. This was actually the first book I've read by him. I mean, I've got, you can't see them because they're behind me, I've got a load on the bookshelf here and one at the top, but I've not actually read them yet. I'm kind of just collecting them at this point. So this book was about 2 women, Amanda and Wendy, who meet at a support group, and they basically go to the pub after the support group and they kind of get chatting, have a few drinks, and they make a pact. If you kill for me, I'll kill for you. And already you're thinking, are they both going to stick to what they say? Are they not? I'm not going to tell you that because it will spoil the plot, obviously. So you have 2 different points of view, and you also have the police. You have this other character in there as well who kind of confused me at first. But then the further I got through the book, I kind of figured out who that character was, and then when it swung to the Ware, it kind of all made sense. So even though I had kind of figured it out, I still absolutely love this book, and there were smaller twists that I hadn't figured out. And the last 50 pages of this, I was so hooked. Like, I could not turn these pages quick enough. I devoured the end of this book. And I gave this one a 4-star. I think everyone should read this book, straight up there, I've said it. I gave this one a 4.5 star, but I was so gripped on this. I read this in about 4.5 hours. Like, I was heading out and I was literally walking to the place just like this with my head in this book. Like, I physically can't put this down. It is the perfect summer destination thriller, I would say. So, because the blurb of this doesn't give too much away about the plot, I can't say too much, but I will say it does involve a plane crash, so if you don't like that kind of thing, then maybe don't read it. But the story follows two sisters, Erin and Laurie, and they are off on holiday to a little island in Fiji, and one of them doesn't make the flight, and it turns out to be a pretty big regret for her. That's all I'm going to say on the plot for that. So you've got the dual point of view of the two sisters, and you've got a kind of a split timeline as well. And there were a few twists in this one, and I did not expect the last twist in this. I was kind of glad about it, but I didn't expect it. Yeah, this one is such a good read. Definitely one maybe to add to your bookshelf for next summer, or if you're going away September, October this year, definitely read it. This book I picked up purely because I saw the words travel, cruise and northern lights on the blurb, and I was like, yep, that is a bit of me, I'm picking this one up. So I actually read this one in about 4 hours as well. The last 50 pages are what had me just insanely hooked to it. They were the best bits of the book, I can't lie. So this book kind of wasn't what I expected, but it was at the same time. I think because I just read this one by Ruth Ware, I kind of had really high expectations. And obviously it's not the same book, but it's by the same author, so you're kind of like expecting the same level of writing and twisty stuff, things like that. But don't get me wrong, I still really love this book. So the plot basically follows a new cruise ship. They're doing a big press trip launch for it, and our main character, Lo, is a travel journalist, and she gets invited on this trip to cover for someone else that was supposed to be going. But she had a recent break-in at her home, and she's not been sleeping properly after that, so she's awake in the night and she hears this weird noise. She hears a scream, sorry, not a weird noise, and then she kind of looks out of her cabin. Then she hears a weird noise, of which she thinks is a body being thrown into the ocean. And she checks with like the passenger lists and the captains. Nobody checked into the cabin next door. There's not any passengers missing, and there's not any staff missing. So who the hell went overboard in the cabin next to her? This one was really good. Yeah, like I said, it wasn't quite what I expected, but it was still a great book. I definitely recommend. And the final book, this one I haven't actually started yet, but I am hoping to finish it by the end of August. As I said at the start, I'm filming this a bit early because I'm away at the end of the month, and I want to try and get this on YouTube like start of September ASAP. So this is Abdullah's new book. I wasn't actually going to read this yet, but because it's a library book, I checked my account and someone's actually reserved it, so I'm like, oh, I've actually got to read this, because normally I'll keep them and then just read them when I get around to it. Someone's reserved this, so I have to kind of bump it up my TBR. Having said that, the blurb for this sounds absolutely incredible, and I loved Abdullah's book Next of Kin that I read this month. So I'm hoping I'm going to enjoy this one as well. So it's basically about two childhood best friends. One of them is a TV presenter and one of them is a journalist. One of them has some suspicious bruises and the other's like, okay, looks a bit weird. So they try to rekindle their own friendship because one of them wants to dig into that. And then the other one has an unalive body turned up on their doorstep and they plead not guilty. And the journalist kind of starts digging into it to try and kind of help her friend out, and that is basically what I got from the blurb. It sounds like it's going to be an interesting read. I'm basing that on the fact I love Next of Kin, so I really hope I'm going to love this one as well. That is my August reading wrap up. Everything in this pile was rated above 4 stars, so I had such a good reading month. I think if I had to pick a top 3, probably go, oh, that's really difficult actually. Probably Next of Kin, The Castaways, and All Her Fault. But honestly, I loved all of these books so much. If you've read any of these, let me know what you thought and which ones were your favourite. And don't forget to subscribe for more thriller book content, recs, reviews, hauls, I do it all. See you next time!